is Amulet from Difference in Skill, and this is the very late 25th episode of Card for Thoughts. And I'll just have to say that we've been very busy, and as the picture describes or depicts, I am doing the Quintet shield, summoning Jewel Knight Gloria, and of course the effect is actually unconfirmed yet, so I'll just have to briefly talk about this. Okay, so from the picture we know that this card is a Sentinel, meaning that it will actually take up slots where your perfect guards would actually be. I think this is this is pretty much a must. I have to say that because these basically act as the new sort of perfect guards that take up less hand. Okay, so generically to say, they are a counter blast 1 effect, and when you place this card on the Guardian Circle, if you have the corresponding Vanguard to your clan or your Sentinel, you may pay a cost. If you do, look up to 5 cards from your deck, search up to 5 of the corresponding clan, and among them call to the Guardian Circle, and then shuffle your deck. Okay. Now, what this basically means is that your shield value will come from the top 5 cards of your deck. So, like if you mill 5 critical triggers, you're suddenly guarding for 50k. Okay. Now it's actually not that great if you mill 5 critical triggers or any sort of combination of like something like that, because it basically means you lost a bunch of your triggers, or a good proportion of your triggers, almost 1/3 of your triggers from your entire deck if something like that happens. Okay. A second part is that this takes 1 counter plus to activate. This is kind of I would say this is a downside, because like it's a fair downside because you expend less hand to activate this card, whereas if you use your perfect guards you have to expend 2 hand. But the point is that not every client actually has the cost to do this, and I have to say that particularly in this current meta or format, a lot of clients just straight up don't have the cost to activate this kind of stuff. Especially multiple amount of times. I have to say, some clients use cost more efficiently and some don't, but for the most part, I would say that most clients have trouble in activating, paying up the cost to use this stuff. Okay, so what that means is that the amount of Quintet shields that you can play would be quite limited, because if you want to activate if you want to straight up activate effects of your clients to basically do the game plan of what you do and everything, then it basically means you don't want to play too much Quintet shields, because if you try to activate them multiple times when you need it, you basically either have a very vanilla deck or you just don't have the cost to activate them. Now in that case, if you don't have the cost to activate, these cards are completely dead in your hand, because they're basically worth nothing. Now the second downside is that you have to mill 5 cards, which also means that you're kind of restricted to not playing too many of these, because if you try to play too many Quintet shields and activate them multiple times, you'll end up decking yourself out, and you'll actually lose quite a lot of triggers in that sort of sense. Okay, now those are basically the downsides that I'm going to talk about, those are basically the bigger downsides that I think is the major problem of these cards. Now the upside, you expend less hand to block potentially large attacks. While the shield value is kind of inconsistent, it will kind of come out into an average of 20 to 25k, meaning that if you're blocking something that's attacking for 21k as a Vanguard, it basically acts as a perfect guard. Furthermore, well, that's really the upside of these cards. The second thing is, I don't think they're overly broken, because in this format with break rides and Labradors and clients that hit a billion Alfred, Liberator Alfreds and so on, that hits 30k for no really good reason. Honestly, having something that gives you an average of 20 to 25k might actually not even cut it, because when a Vanguard is attacking you for 30k, Honestly, you would rather just use the actual perfect guard instead of betting your life on a Quintet shield, because it's there's a really high chance that you'll actually end up with not enough shield value after using the Quintet shield to try and block something that's hitting for 30k. Okay, now, trying to add to that, because the effect is actually unconfirmed and not written yet, depending on the rulings, there could be a lot of cool stuff that can be done. Like, let's say if you mill, like, this is one of the things that I think should be written down, and, like, it should be a ruling, is that when they mill 5 cards, let's say if you mill your actual perfect guard, like, the one that says that, like, the one where you have to ditch another card to, like, guard the attack completely. So, according to, like, how it's written in the old, format, or like how the perfect guards are currently written, it actually just might mean that if, because it's put to the guardian circle, it means you're actually obligated, or like you have the choice to activate your perfect guard now. Now the question is, will they let you do that from the Quintet shield? They might not. They might think that giving you a chance to mill 5 cards and sack for your shield value is already quite enough. On the other hand, they might think that it won't matter. In my opinion, I think it's fair to say that you can activate your effects that come out to the Guardian Circle from your deck, or from the effect of your Quintet shield, meaning that if a perfect guard does show up, I think you should have the choice to activate it or not. Because ultimately it just means that the 5 cards you mill doesn't add up to the value you need to guard an attack. And at the same time, if you use a Quintet shield to activate a perfect guard, you basically did the same thing as using a perfect guard from your hand, because it just means that the slot that you should have played a perfect guard became a Quintet shield, and the Quintet shield just basically did a really long thing to activate your perfect guards, or to activate the actual perfect guard. At the same time, it's at the cost of discarding. It's at the same time. You paid 1 cost and you mill 5 cards from your deck to activate your actual perfect guard. So I think that's kind of fair in that sense. Okay. Now furthermore to this is that, like, seeing how you have the ability to activate your perfect guard, I also think it's fair to say that if after you mill your 5 cards from the Quintet shield, you should have the choice to actually continue to add shield value onto the 5 cards. Meaning that if you don't have enough shield value after your 5 cards, or you still feel insecure about it, you should have the choice to throw down more shield value from your hand. Or maybe even activate a second Quintet shield, because why the hell not? But generally to say is that this isn't actually written yet, so we don't know if it's going to become true or not. I think it's fair to say that you're allowed to do that. I don't know if people might conflict. Like, it might be a conflicting idea here, but like, I think it's fair to say that, because you're really just expending more resources to do more kind of stuff. I mean, in a sense, this is like, I had this conversation with one of my friends really long time ago, is that this is basically the long welcome 20k shield. Because we were kind of joking back then, it's like, wow, everything's hitting so hard, I guess they should start making 20k shield triggers or something. Or 20k shield value, and, well, this is basically it. And I have to say that they've done it in quite a fair manner, because you do have to give up your perfect guards to activate this. You do give up quite a bit, because you do give up the cost, and you do give up 5 cards, which can potentially lower the ratio of quite a lot of things. Now, what else do I really have to add to this that's on my mind right now? Should this be distributed to every clan, or just clans that need the support from this? Well, from watching the latest episode of Vanguard Preview, you can see that Gold Paladins will also get this, and it probably happens to be a Liberator, meaning that, well, then I don't think it's actually a matter of which client gets to have this kind of stuff. It probably just means that this is a new standard and that every client gets it, and I guess that's fair in a sense, because some of the better clients probably won't use this stuff at all, because they don't have to. They rather not expend the cost to do this kind of stuff, but the option's there for them to use it. And it has this fair trade off and whatnot. So I think everyone kind of deserves to have like their own Quintet shield. Um, I would if like is this overrated? I know for a while I guess a lot of people are talking about it, so it is kind of overrated. I wouldn't say it is broken, that's for sure. Anyway, I think that's all I have for today now. So I'll be moving on. So I'll be back next time, which is only 1 day away from actually this episode's release. Well, see ya.